Sonic has had quite the plentiful franchise. From games to toys to clothes, Sonic's face has been plastered on just about anything you can think of for the past 30 years. But given that there's so much Sonic stuff out there, there will always be stuff that isn't. Stuff that was planned, designed, and maybe even produced that was tossed to the side, abandoned, and cancelled. There are even things that were fully released and publicized that have been lost to the sands of time. How about we take a look at forgotten and leftover pieces of Sonic's past to see what could have been and slipped through the cracks. Without any further ado, let's go. Now let's start with my personal favorite Sonic medium, merch. Let's go through all the 4 main Sonic merch lines to see all the canceled stuff there. Starting with Thesaurus, they had a 10th anniversary line that would have included a 12-inch Knuckles and Tails that would have gone with their 12-inch Sonic, as well as a repaint of Gamma that would have been an E102 Alpha, and they also had a Golden Sonic. It's not even like Super Sonic or anything, it's just Sonic painted gold for some reason. If you don't know, Thesaurus was not in the best financial spot at this point, and this is why they went bankrupt in 2000. They couldn't afford to do anything new, so they just had to rehash old stuff. But with their Sonic Adventure figures, they had waves 1 and 2, but a wave 3 was actually planned. This wave would have had figures of Shadow and Rouge. Now this was a pretty historical thing, because this was actually the first time Shadow and Rouge's names were ever publicized. In the hype for Sonic Adventure 2, the biggest question people had was, who are these two? The reveal of this wave of figures was the first time the general public ever knew about Shadow and Rouge's real names, but as you can guess, these figures were never released. On to Toy Island, probably their most infamous cancelled item was a Bendy Gamma. Toy Island had this wave of Bendy figures, which, they're alright, but it would have been awesome if we got a Bendy figure of E102 Gamma. But Toy Island was actually going to make a full line of Sonic plushes. In the end, they only made figures, but they were going to make these hilariously bad-looking plushes. I mean, look at these guys. Sonic has blue arms, Tails has his tongue sticking out for some reason, Chow. I wouldn't put it past Toy Island to make these. I mean, they made Amy with pink arms, and I'm pretty sure that's a sin in some countries, so yeah. Now we get on to the absolute Giga Chads known as Jazzwares. They were going to make Metal Sonic 3.0 from Sonic Advance 3, and they were going to make Mecha Sonic from Sonic 2. While they would have been just simple recolors of their modern Metal Sonic figure, they still would have been cool. Along with that, probably their most infamous 3-inch cancelled figure was a figure of Rouge the Bat. This would have been in a comic book pack with her and Shadow, and super sad because Rouge was basically the only main character they didn't make. I mean, why does Storm the Albatross get a figure but Rouge the Bat doesn't? And we of course have the infamous 3-inch classic Knuckles. They made figures of classic Sonic, Super Sonic, Metal Sonic, Tails, and Amy, but they never made Knuckles for some reason. I mean, why did classic Amy get approved but not Knuckles? And the final 3-inch figure they wanted to make was a figure of Mighty the Armadillo. This got rejected by Sega, but I mean, this was long before Mania Plus, so this would have been awesome. I mean, hey, if this came out, maybe we would have gotten Mighty and Ray and earlier stuff. Onto their 5-inch line, we have a bunch of figures based off of Sonic and the Black Knight. They were going to make figures of the Black Knight versions of Jet, Knuckles, and Tails that I can't look up their names because I really can't be bothered. All we got in the end was Excalibur Sonic, Sir Lancelot, and Silver. And Silver was very briefly released, which makes him extremely rare nowadays. The last figures they were going to make were standard figures that came with light-up Chaos Emeralds on rings. Now we get to their cancelled plushes. The Jazzwares plush line felt very underwhelming, mainly because they made like 3 characters. In the modern plush line, all we got were Sonic, the Werehog, Shadow, Tails, and Silver. We did get classic plushes, but again, Plus the plushes themselves really weren't that great in quality. But we were going to get Eggman, Sonic with the Gauntlet and Caliburn, figures of modern and classic Super Sonic and Super Shadow, modern Knuckles, which the best picture we have of him is just his feet, and Big the Cat. This Big the Cat is actually pretty cool because the YouTuber Pat Mac, who is a god, actually managed to find him on eBay and get him. I'm not jealous, you're jealous. Now with Tomy, I've already made a full video about cancelled Tomy stuff, so go watch that please. But to sum it up, Tomy was forced to do Sonic Boom stuff, and by the time they wanted to do Sonic mainline stuff, they lost the license and had to cancel most of it. And they were going to make plushes of Sonic wearing a Christmas hat for some reason, and an emoji plush of Boom Amy. And we were going to get a Silver figure, what the hell? On to some other companies, Kelly Toy was going to make metallic versions of their Sonic and Tails. For some reason, their Super Sonic and Silver plushes got this really crappy looking metallic finish. And they were going to make plushes of their Sonic and Tails with it for some reason. Super Sonic's one thing, Silver, I guess it kind of makes sense, but Sonic and Tails just make flat out no sense, and they probably would have been really dumb. But of course, I cannot forget the Cheese, the Chow, and Werehog plushes. The YouTuber L Super Sonic Q made a video about these cancelled Kelly Toy Cartoon Network plushes, and someone commented with this image. This is an image of Kelly Toy's showroom, which shows off a bunch of the plushes they made. And right above Schnitzel, you can see this awkward Cheese the Chow plush sitting there. Someone must have misplaced it here, but there is a Cheese the Chow plush from Kelly Toy. So thanks random Kelly Toy worker sucking at your job. This thing not being released kinda sucks because the only other Cheese the Chow plush goes for $500, but thankfully Jack Specific is making one, so it's cool. And the Werehog went to Pat Mac too. He found it on a Chinese site known as Taobao, and it came apparently from the Kelly Toy Factory. He's so much cooler than me. Moving away from toys, let's go on to comics. It doesn't take a brainlet to know that the Archie Sonic comics were canceled at issue 290. That means that issues 291, 292, 293, 294, and 295 were all canceled. This canceled an entire arc where apparently the Freedom Fighters would split up and do their own crap, so yeah. And along with that, issues 95, 96, and 97 of Sonic Universe were also canceled. We were so close to issue 100, come on, and Sonic Mega Drive Part 3 Overdrive was also cancelled. Now on to what is probably the most infamous type of Sonic cancellation, Sonic Games. And I would be but a fool to not start this segment with probably one of the most infamous cancelled games of all time, Sonic Extreme. Sonic was not doing well in the mid-90s, and Sega needed a 3D Sonic game to win over fans to buy the Saturn. And that game was going to be Sonic Extreme. You've all heard the story by now. Due to literally every single problem under the sun, money, time, the literal health of employees, it was cancelled in 1997. The lead designer of the game, Chris Sen, tried to get a PC port, but it failed. And the cancellation of Sonic Extreme led to the Saturn failing, which led to the Dreamcast failing, which led to Sega becoming only a game developer. Now that we're done talking about Sonic Extreme, I want to talk about Sonic Extreme. Sonic Extreme was a skateboarding game featuring Sonic and Shadow that was pitched to Sega in 2003 by Visionscape. Visionscape had already dealt with Sonic earlier because they did all the CGI cutscenes for Sonic Heroes, but yeah, this would have been a skateboarding game. For what it's worth, it actually looked pretty cool, and Yuji Naka himself was on board, but Sega declined it for some reason and then decided to make their own mediocre Sonic hoverboarding game a few years later. It's only completely hypocritical and unfair. Now we'll go on to probably the most infamous lost part of Sonic's history, the Sonic 1 Beta. What you're looking at is a screenshot of the lost beta version of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. Why is this so important? Well, first off, it's the beta of the first ever Sonic game, but other than that, this was the first time Sonic the Hedgehog was publicly unveiled. This occurred at the Tokyo Toy Show in June of 1990. Sega made a playable demo of Sonic 1. It looks so radically different. Green Hill has, well, the hills, there's this weird enemy guy, there's a weird sign, Sonic stands weird, everything's weird. It's nearly a completely different experience than Sonic 1. But why is it lost? Well, it's because the dip-asses over at Sega lost the ROM for it. They realized this when they wanted to make Sonic Mega Collection and wanted to put it in, but they couldn't find it. Efforts have been made for over 20 years to find this thing. So you're telling me Sega lost the ROM to the first ever public appearance of their mascot? I mean, this is the same company that let Sonic Forces exist, so I mean, I guess it's not completely unfair to think of that. Now I want to talk about my personal favorite cancelled Sonic thing ever. That being Sonic Synergy. After a bunch of Naughty Dog employees left to form their own studio, Big Red Button, a few years later Sega tasked them with making the next Sonic game. Their idea? Sonic Synergy. Sonic Synergy would be a completely different continuity from the Sonic series, featuring new designs, worlds, and characters. The game would have featured Sonic and Eggman being best friends, but due to some time-traveling shenanigans, they end up becoming mortal rivals and unleashing the game's new villain, Lyric. It would have featured a darker, realistic art style with 4-player co-op, and it would have been a more slower exploration adventure game. Big Red Button had a lot of ideas for this thing, like vehicles, the inner beam, hell, they were even going to put Chow in the game. They put a lot of time, effort, and resources into this thing. But during the 2 years of this game's development, Sega was behind the scenes doing some evil crap. What else is new? Sega was partnering with French animation team WeDo to make a new Sonic cartoon, and they were signing a 3-game exclusivity deal with Nintendo so that the next 3 Sonic games would be exclusively on Nintendo platforms, with 2 of those being Mario and Sonic at the Winter 2014 Olympics and Sonic Lost World. But the TV show made Sega make a very, very poor decision. Sega told Big Red Button that their game that they've been working on for 2 years, would be part of a comedy-based children's sub-series of Sonic known as Sonic Boom. And they had to rework their entire game and put it on the Wii U. And all the work they've done at this point was to build the game specifically for PC. And the worst part of it all, the engine they were using was CryEngine 3, an engine that was specifically made for PC. There was not a single other game on the Wii U at the time that used this engine. It would be a near impossible feat to port the game over in its current state. And the worst part of it all, they had a deadline to make. November 2014. That was when a new comic book line, merch line, the 2 games, and the TV show would all premiere. Oh yeah, 2 games. They wanted a game for the 3DS now. Thankfully, that game was outsourced to Sanzaru Games, so that they didn't have to make that too. But Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure you all know how Sonic Boom went.
Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is an incompletable game. It is broken, and it is not good.
Yes, Sonic, I know it's like these roads were built for you. I heard you the first 48 times 3 minutes ago.
The problem is that there are only so many moves that you can perform with each character. It doesn't change as you progress. So the tactics I used at the beginning of the game were just as viable at the end.
I think I could replicate this yesterday screen just using Premiere Pro. Yay, I did it!
Then I clip inside the main room here without activating the main cutscene at all, and you can see all of the characters standing in T-poses.
And apparently their reception was poor enough that Sega has called into question the viability of the Sonic franchise, including whether or not we'll see any more solo adventures featuring the titular Blue Hedgehog.
Amy lets go of her hammer here, but immediately has it in the next shot.
The game is stupid. It was not fun. It was not good. I did not enjoy myself. Maybe you should pass on it. Maybe rent it at best.
I can see through the wall. I can see everything.
Well, you know what? Here, wait. Yeah, there you go. If that doesn't say everything about this game, I don't know what does.
But yeah, Sega's negligence and greed killed this project. We were gonna get this amazing new recreation of Sonic, and it became just another face in a crowd of mediocrity. So yeah, it didn't go over that well. But that's all I really want to talk about today. But yeah, there's a look at some Sonic stuff that could have been. After you have a 30-year history, it's kind of bound that some of this stuff will come up. I mean, think of all the stuff we don't even know about. If Sonic Extreme exists, then what couldn't? Hopefully more Sonic stuff can come to fruition in the future. Bye!